Yeah. Right. I suppose this is our first live together. So any of the 4 people that may end up watching this, fair play to you. Well done. But yeah, I suppose we'll get into it. We'll start talking about the round football first before we start talking about the egg ball football. Um, what did you make of the Leeds game with Liverpool?
I mean, disappointing. Let's just be honest. We should have won the game. I think it's pretty obvious. It's our first draw since I believe Leeds away at the beginning of December, and I think that's not really a good sign because that Leeds game again, we thoroughly outplayed Leeds. Should have gotten the win if Konate doesn't do the dumb tackle. If we don't sub Salon, maybe we win that game. Because no, actually, I don't think we did sub Salon.
Yeah.
That's when he comes out the tunnel. This game, I think Slot got the lineup wrong, in my opinion, because I think playing both Bradley and Frimpong is way too defensive at home against Leeds. If you played Chiesa against Wolves, who I thought played well, you bring Chiesa back on, you just double down on the Frimpong Chiesa right wing, especially if you're going to play Robertson. There's no reason to be overly conservative on your right wing if you're playing Robertson on the left wing. I thought Wirtz had his worst game in a while. I think he's been pretty good for the past month. I think Jones had his worst game in a while. I think Soboslai struggled to get in the game a bit. I think Grav was fine when he pushed forward, but again, I felt Grav had very difficulties breaking through Leeds' block, but Leeds were very, very passive this game, had a very specific game plan, and it almost worked out. They were busy for the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then afterwards they were very much under the cosh for most of the game. They don't generate, I think, any XGFs outside the 30 minute.
From the 31st to the 91st minute, they had 0 XG.
Yeah, so 0 XG. So we're in in that situation where Leeds are doing the ultimate POMO, position of maximum opportunity. You have to take your chances, and we generated enough chances overall to score. But one thing we've struggled with this season is quality chances against low blocks. Because, for instance, that Ekatike header, if it was on target, it counts for his XG and it's probably a goal. I'm not blaming him for missing that because it's he misreads the ball. It's a whipped cross. It's half cross, half shot by Frimpong. But that's like a goal that maybe Jota randomly heads in, or Origi or Minamino, someone who's gets a scrappy weird goal like that. You go 1-0 up, you win the game 2-0 or 3-0, and we're strolling. It's just one of those where you've seen a lot of what we've done under Slot with this weird 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1 hybrid 3, weird kind of very safe and balanced attack that if you don't generate good chances, especially we now really only have one striker in Hugo Ekatike, it's very difficult to win games like this. And we got 2 games against Fulham and Arsenal, which are going to be very different kinds of games, both very winnable and very losable for this Liverpool team. But I think anything that we've seen from both Arsenal and Fulham is that they're both not complete sides. Arsenal are going to be defensive. They're going to be dogmatic. They'll be pragmatic. It's going to probably be a very boring game. They're going to rely a lot on their set pieces, and they're going to gamble on their ability from set pieces versus our ability on set pieces, which is fair play. We've been bad at them this year. With Fulham are just a weird side in general. They are kind of a halfway house between a good football team and an average football team, and they've always get damned with faint praise because of that. I love Marco Silva as a coach. I think he's a very underrated coach, but it's just one of those where it's gonna be a weird game. That was kind of my thoughts overall. What did you think, Steve?
On the Leeds game, I thought we done enough to win. That's the kind of game that 9 times out of 10 you win 2-0 or you win 1-0. Leeds generated nothing against us whatsoever. Ekatike, and the funnier thing about it is just I love how the blame falls on Arne Slot by some people in the fan base when Ekatike has a header is literally if he moves his head 2 inches to the right and tilts it that way, it's a goal. But he heads it literally straight back and smacks the keeper in the face. Like, I don't know how that's the manager's fault. I don't know how him being honest.
Steve, he's lost the dressing room, don't you know? Don't you know? Have you seen McAllister's quotes? He's lost the dressing room.
Oh,
You know,
so
like
stupid.
Mo Salah. Like okay,
so
listen. Here's stupid. I think Slot gets the starting lineup wrong, in my opinion. I think that the starting lineup's way too conservative for what it is. I think Frimpong is great on the day until he blows up. I think Robertson's great on the day until he blows up as well. I think the biggest problem we've had all season is that we've always changed our right side, our fullback 3 times. Every game we've done poorly in, it's because Slot's constantly rotating his fullbacks. And I'm like, you can't spend half your subs on just rotating the fullback. That's not how you win a game. Yeah. I don't care who you are. Like unless you're Arsenal and like you rotate your fullbacks for like more center backs to just launch headers. But I mean, it's been an issue all season. It's why I don't like the Dominic Szoboszlai at right back anymore. I just don't because it's like what Dom is good at is not what you want at right back. You know, his passing range, his energy, his drive. He has a decent shot on him, but you're not getting that from right back. If he's playing right mid or right wing, sure. Like I would have been happier if
he was right wing.
Yeah, if he was right wing, Frimpong was at right back, and you put McAllister, and you put with 5 midfielders and Ugo Ekitike, because Dom could play right wing. We've seen that, and like he's good on the right wing. If you saw in that first half, with our best half, that we were threatening when Frimpong and Robertson were getting in behind the mid block to the center lot to the defensive line and playing those balls in between the goalkeeper and the defense. That's what you do. You play those quick balls. You don't just do crosses back to the pin spot. You try to do those balls where you're hitting like that space. So, and that's game planning. That's a specific coaching thing of like, this is how we're going to approach this. This is what we're going to do, which is why I there's plenty of criticism of Slot this year. You could argue that, yes, he should probably go at the end of the year because it might just be best for all parties involved, depending on how the season ends up. But even notwithstanding how the season ends, you can make an argument with how poorly it's been up to this point, considering the changes, you know, Jota's death, all this stuff. You can make that argument, but I won't sit here and just have people just pulling shit out their ass because they don't like the manager. Like, it's okay to not like the manager. Believe it or not, I don't care that you don't like the manager. People, again, I'm the scumbag for just laughing at people for being miserable for no reason.
I don't understand. Like, this entire season and everything that has sort of befallen us so far, I don't understand how it's his fault. And the reason I don't understand how it's his fault is all the 50-50s have gone against us, which is the hilarious side of it. Like, even in our last run of games, everyone's like, oh, we're still conceding, we're still making fuck-ups at the back. And I'm kind of like, okay, please explain to me how Arne Slot is at fault for Alisson, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, parrying the Wolves header back into his 6-yard box. If you have ever played in goal in your life, for any level whatsoever, the cardinal and only rule you are told as a goalkeeper, and rule number 1, is you parry the ball away from the goal, not back towards your fucking penalty spot. Wolves end up getting a goal as a result of that. Then against Spurs, Virgil van Dijk, who leads the league in clearances both aerial and on the ground, the one that he whiffs on, Richarlison gets on the end of it and puts it in the back of the net. Then you go take a look at the Southampton game, or the Sunderland game, should I say, excuse me. Could have been up 2-0 at half-time if Wirtz's shot goes between the legs a little bit differently, 2 inches to the right, and McAllister's header goes in instead of hitting the post. Completely different game at half-time then. Now all of a sudden, they score a massive deflected goal, and we're then chasing a game against a team that's going to go sit in a low block. And thankfully, we got a bit of luck in that game and got a goal from Wirtz from a big deflection as well. Then the Leeds game, cruising at 2-0, they've had 6 shots total, none on target, and then Konate decides to shit his brains out his arse and give away one of the softest penalties that I've ever seen when there was no need for it. You then give Leeds, under the lights at Ellen Road, a sniff of blood, and they're like sharks in the water immediately. That's like doing the exact same for us at Anfield. Then you go back even further, looking at the Man City game. We were playing well in that game. Then Konate decides to fuck it up again in the first half and give Doku a penalty because he didn't let the ball roll out, decides to fuck it off Bradley. Doku then runs in and Marmadashvili basically takes him down. Thankfully, he saved the penalty. Then he forgets how to jump and the ball goes off the back of his head and it ends up as a goal. We then get a perfectly legal goal ruled out, and 30 seconds later, Man City are 2-0 up, and that just kills the game immediately. Like, whatever you say about the Nottingham Forest game, that was just a bad game. The PSV game, again, another bad game. You're allowed then. But over the last
Brentford away,
8 to 9 games,
Brentford away was pretty bad too. No, I get.
Yeah, but like over the like back as far as Man City, you could put it down to the smallest of margins of a call going one way or the other, or a ball bouncing one way or another, and all of a sudden, even the last 7 games, the last 7 Premier League games, we were the tiniest of margins away from keeping 7 clean sheets and winning all 7 games. Then it's a completely different conversation because you're like, well, we've kept 7 clean sheets, we've now won 7 on the bounce. United still haven't won 5 games in a row, and it's nearly a year and a half later, and that poor fucker's never getting a haircut. Then you have the likes, and then the problem is then this Leeds game comes along, and this is a game that you probably should have won 2-0, but sometimes it just isn't your day. And if you want evidence of that, look at the fucking Man City game where they played Sunderland later that day, where they had the exact same sort of output as us and couldn't put the ball in the back of the net whatsoever.
Oh, you're telling.
So I'm kind of like, oh, is it just us? Nah, Pep out because he couldn't fucking put 12 goals past a newly promoted side.
Xabi Alonso, get him in tomorrow. Solves all the issues. Don't you know, Steve? Well, actually, I would say right now, so like our XG for the season, we're on 30 goals, and our XG created is 30 goals.
And we've gotten 30.
Yeah. Our XG against is 22 and a half, and we've conceded 26. We're conceding 4 goals over what we should be, which that's easily, if you want to chalk it up to, that's either more draws or a win or yada yada yada.
But before the last run of games, that was way worse.
Yeah,
like the 3 goals that we conceded against Man City came from 0.13 xG. 3 goals from 0.13 xG.
Yeah.
Like, please explain to me how that's a manager's fault.
But again, like I think, and this is where I want to say that, like I want to say that on the whole, he's always going to take the blame, because it's just people. And I said this from the beginning, Steve, and you can quote me. You were there with me. I said the only thing I said about Slot is that the instant it goes wrong, everyone's going to be crying and bending over backwards to be bummed by Xabi Alonso. That's how was always going to be when things went bad. And this season, you saw it in the chat where people are like, oh, we spent all this money, we have to win the league. I'm like, that's not how it works. But lo and behold, it's like, well, we should have won the league with the money. It's like, well, Isak's bit is going to be out because he got a leg-breaking tackle from Mickey Van de Ven. Not Isak's fault. Like, yes, he has his injury things, but like you can't help that. That's a
Giovanni Leone, who looks so promising, blew his knee out
first game. 80 minutes in. Yeah,
you can't quantify for this kind of
stuff. But Mark
Gahey, this is the thing.
But it's like, but we could have put Mark Gahey for Konate. I'm like, Mark Gahey's worse in the air. Like, you're telling me Mark Gahey would have struggled on set pieces?
But that's the hilarious thing about it as well, because they're like, oh, well, we could just put Mark Gahey and that fixes all the problems. You mean we're going to get a guy that's smaller than our 2 centre-backs currently, who's worse in the air, and we're conceding set pieces for fun? Yes, that will definitely solve our fucking problems, you absolute troglodyte.
But again,
like,
I understand like criticisms of like the manager of the season, and like I said, he's probably going to take the axe he might take the axe in the season because we don't know how it's going to turn out. They may say like, well, we want to bring Xabi in because Xabi said yes and yada yada yada. But again, it just comes, or like Enrique or somebody else, which I like Luis Enrique, I like Xabi Alonso, I like these managers. I think any manager. Well, again, I don't think any of them would if they had the same situation. I think they both would have struggled in different ways. I absolutely think, but the only difference is that there'd be less clamor online. It's like, there'd be much more grace of like, oh, well, Jota's death, that like they're just not there mentally. Like there've been way more forgiveness. People were saying like we should stop using that excuse like 2 months into the season, and I'm like, what do you mean? This is like their best friend. Like this is their mate. This is the guy they're going to work with, and he's no longer there. The preseason was ruined. It's like, why do we look like inconsistent and a shambles at times, it's because our preseason was ruined by the death of a team.
But not even the preseason. If you take Jota's tragic passing away from it, you have lost, and I wouldn't mind. This is a point that I laughed about to myself earlier when I was thinking about it. So many people gave out about the likes of Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, and others like that. Like those two specifically. Oh, they're useless. They're donkeys. They can't do anything in front of goal.
Even Jota. Even Jota. No, they did say
Even
about Jota.
But it's the funnier thing about it is okay, but they're doing the running that allows Salah and Gakpo to be scoring the goals like they are. Them and Szoboszlai. And the funnier thing about it is marathon runners, we get marathon runners. We might as well get Mo Farah was the line that was used, which I thought was funny. And I'm kind of like, okay, but now we've gotten rid of those guys that done the running and Salah just looks bang fucking average. So it's almost like you need them. And then people are like, oh, we need guys that are pressing. Our press is non-existent. Yeah, because we got rid of the guys that done the fucking press.
But also it takes a while to coach them. Like the thing is like, you know, part of what allowed Slot to be so brilliant is that like he didn't have to coach the players on how to play in a pressing side. They already knew.
He had a core that was there. He had a core that was there.
Yeah, and listen, I don't blame him for Diaz wanting to go to Bayern. You get a good deal, like that's fine. Like Diaz was not beating his man. Like we sold him at the best time. People say we didn't replace Luis Diaz. That's tragic. I'm like, who else out there were you gonna buy? Are you talking about Hugo? You're talking about Hugo?
Yeah, because if you're going position by position,
I just mean like Hugo. That left wing. You know what I mean, though, Steve. Like the left wing, tricky, pacey guy as well. Like we didn't buy Doku is what I mean. It's like we didn't replace Diaz. You know. In that sense, and again, like if Jota doesn't die, if he's in this side, I don't like we probably have similar issues, but none of the fragility. I don't think I think we would have been like on Aston Villa's points right now. They're what they're on 38, 39.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and they're and like they shouldn't even be there. Should be like 15th because it's footy, and this is what happens.
Yeah, there's 19 points over expected.
Yeah, which is mad. Like it's just that's footy, that's football. That's just what happens. Like I just feel like a lot of people also have said for years that Arsenal were going to win the league, and now that they're actually winning, they're just getting the joy out of like, well, I was finally right. Arsenal finally won the league, and I caught it for 3 years, and ignoring the fact that we actually won a league title in between there as well. And I feel like people are more celebratory of Arsenal winning. And us losing than us winning.
People are more celebratory of them being right rather than us winning. And as I said to you, when there was fans of us from last season that were just still not happy when we had pissed the league and we're just cruising to the end of the season, like, oh, we should have done more. And I'm kind of like, what are you on about? We were a Konate beaten PSG at home. If they don't score that goal, they had multiple goal line clearances. I think we beat them at home if we don't concede. Then it goes into the penalty shootout, and you're kind of like, I think at that moment, Slot probably said to himself, I don't know if we're going to leave this to chance and I'm going to leave these guys out here for the extra time, and took off a couple of penalty takers. Maybe he made the decision to scrap that, and the numbers backed him up on it and said, I have a real chance of winning the Premier League here. Adding extra games onto this isn't going to help and whatever. And similarly, he done the same with the Carabao Cup earlier in the season. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that was a great fucking choice because we would have been playing Arsenal midweek away from home about 2-3 weeks ago.
Nah, you can't disrespect the cup like that. Like, well, Klopp disrespected it for like years until he won it in 2021. You know, Klopp was under 5 years.
Under Klopp, we made it past, I believe, the 5th round of the FA Cup twice.
No, the League Cup. I'm talking about the League Cup, not even the FA Cup.
But even the League Cup, but the FA Cup and the League Cup, like we made that because we lucked our way. Like the way I look at them tournaments and them competitions is, and unfortunately, fans don't look at the same way as the clubs look at it, because the club is looking at that and looking at if we win the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, that pays for Mohamed Salah's wages for 5 weeks. Could we be fucked? We're not going to risk our best players and risk the chance of getting high in the Premier League and far in the Champions League. If we get a tough team, we'll just put the kid. If we get a lower tier team like a Championship, League 1, League 2, we're going to put the kids out. If we get somebody else in the Premier League, we'll rotate the side and we won't put the strongest side out. Crystal Palace done the same thing. They didn't go full strength against us. We just decided to put the entire kids out, which is the funnier thing about it. I don't understand all this vitriol and all this anger and
Oh no. Oh no, technical issues. No, but I totally get what you mean. I know you're gonna fix that real quick, Steve. No, I totally get what you mean. I just think it's that everyone has a narrative that they want to be right about something, and they orbit the idea around I am always right about what I believe, like whatever that opinion is, either about the manager, about the summer, or about my internalized expectations. That we have X, therefore we should win Y, and that's just not how footy works. Footy is not X, Y, Z. It is you have X, you try to achieve Y, and you might get Z. It's a lottery every time. Like every game, every season's a lottery. There is, like I literally have all the stats here in front of me that I could look at. You can make the predictive out of the chaos as much as possible, but at the end of the day, it's still a predictive model, meaning that the chances of you winning or losing are always going to be there. Like we talked about Villa's like overperformance. The reason they're overperforming is that is a statistical possibility. It's a very low statistical possibility. It's very unlikely to happen, but it does happen. And I think that this is something that this is also with us right now, that, we are, I think we're like slightly underperforming what we should be doing. And the reason we're underperforming is because, again, X myriad of reasons, bad defensive errors, et cetera, from Konate, from Ryan Gravenberg, I think at times, and set pieces as well. And, why were we bad at set pieces this year? It could be a situation where, we're bad at set pieces because the guy wasn't really the set piece coach. He was kind of had to do it on his own. People changed how they did set pieces over the summer. It's this idea of that we got better, therefore everyone got worse. It's that, no, we're getting better and other sides are getting better, but in different ways. And I think that there's not enough appreciation for the fact that other teams also are going to improve or try to improve as well, that they are essentially going to look for different ways of approaching. And I think we gambled on the technicality. There we go, Steve. We gambled a lot on the technical. Yeah. It just hates you. It's anti-Irish racism. It's Restream just hates Ireland. Just hates Ireland.
It's fucking annoying.
It's really like Restream. Like, I just think your equipment's like, it's like, what's better? What would be better if Ireland was a part of England again? We just need to bring in the Union. The King of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. We need to bring Irish back into the English supremacy. It's anti-Irish republicanism from your technology there. I know, but to your point, I mean,
that's exactly
to your
what
point,
it is.
Steve, I just think it's To your point, Steve, I think it comes down to the fact that a lot of people just put it in their heads that we should win everything, and if we don't, it's Slot's fault.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not how it works. That's literally how none of this works.
No, it's not. Like, how many times have we said it, both through LFCTR transfer room and through the Annetton Liverpool and through our own group chat, is that spending doesn't equal success. It never has. It never will. If spending equals success, Chelsea would have won the quadruple 4 years in a row by now with their 2 billion plus spend. It's just, it doesn't equal success. You've taken a core that were together for multiple years with Darwin Núñez. You got rid of Harvey Elliott, Costa Simicast. Diogo Jota unfortunately passed away. Luis Diaz went out the door. You then also, there was other people that left as well. I can't remember who else left from there. There was about 7 of the first team that we let go of. Kwanzaa gone as well. 7, Queeveen Kelleher too. So there's about 7 first left the squad. And then you new guys. It's not FIFA. It doesn't click immediately. And if you think it does, you're a moron. And I'm sorry for the hurtful yet accurate things I am saying about people. If you think that it immediately clicks just because you spent a gaggle of cash, it doesn't. And it never has, and it never will. It takes time for them to get into the system. It takes time for them to learn the pressing patterns. It takes time for them to learn the attacking patterns, the defensive switches, the defensive structure. the attacking structure, the positional switches, where you're supposed to be, learning each other's strengths. Like, for example, the balls that you were on about that both Frimpong and Robertson were putting into the box, if that was Trent and Robbo and Nunes, they know where he's going to be because they've played with him for years. Whereas Frimpong hasn't played with Ekitike all that long. Robertson hasn't played with Ekitike all that long. Wirtz has a good connection with him, but learning the tendencies of these guys. Where do they like the ball put? Do they like it on their? Do they like it straight in the middle of their feet? Do they like it out wide to their body? Do they like it to their left foot? Do they like it to their right foot? Do they like it on the run? Do they like balls high over the top in behind? Do they like through balls played on the ground in behind? Or do they prefer, where do they like it? What height of a ball do they kind of like it when it's coming into the box? Do they like a floater of a cross? Do they like a fast, pacey cross that they can just glance at? Those kind of things all come with time. And unfortunately, people don't seem to get that that's the shit that has to happen. You need this gelling time, and it can sometimes take a season. And then on top of that, you're dealing with guys coming from the Bundesliga, now facing the physicality of the Premier League and the congested schedule of the Premier League in comparison to the Bundesliga, which has a Christmas break, which starts later, finishes earlier, has less strenuous of a schedule, more or less. And then you have guys coming from the likes of Newcastle, and you're like, oh, well, how does he have to adapt to the league? Isak has to adapt to how Liverpool play, because Newcastle play fantastically higher levels of transitional football compared to Liverpool, because we face so many more low blocks and mid blocks compared to Newcastle. So now he has to deal with that, and he has to deal with how to break them down at a higher rate and maybe show for the ball a little bit more. Then compound it with the fact that he hasn't, been in any way, shape or form football fit for the entire summer and has been playing catch up the entire season, then pulled his hamstring and then broke his leg. Similarly with Kerkez, he was asked to play a bit of a different role because we were trying to accommodate Mohamed Salah, and then that wasn't working for the first couple of months because Salah couldn't hit a barn door with a shovel. And now in this more sort of newer setup, Kerkez is able to get up higher and be more threatening and get in behind. And he has a bit of a better link with Wirtz than he does with Gakpo, but he's still playing better even when Gakpo is there. He's able to get up on that byline because we're getting more confident on the defensive side of the ball. And then people giving out about the pragmatism, being like, oh, this is boring sideways football. I'm like, that has been football for the past 5, 6, 7 years. The fuck are you on about? Like the whole reason
Klopp, it was always vertical. We always played quick transitional football under Klopp. You don't remember that? You don't remember 2018, 19, 2019, 20 Steve, when like we had Hendo and Fabinho. You tell them like they were playing like huge diagonals and sprinting. You don't remember that, Steve? You don't remember all the free flow?
I've never seen a bigger bunch of fucking hypocrites than Liverpool fans, because not even half a decade ago, in the last 5 years, Liverpool's biggest problem, even when Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah and Bobby Firmino were in their prime, was low blocks. It always has been. It always will be. It is a problem for every top team because it works. It's a problem for every top team to break it down because it works. And if you think it's anti-football, fuck off. Because it's not. It's not anti-football. It's not anything got to do with anti-football. The whole reason you see Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate playing the ball back and forth off each other is to invite Leeds out of their fucking low block, so then we can go wide with the pace on either wing and start attacking down the width there and get in behind that block with guys like Wirtz, like Szoboszlai, like Ekitike, and then you have your two Curtis Jones and Ryan Gravenberch in the middle, where you're going to then cover any sort of rebounds that come out. I don't understand how people are so fucking stupid that they can't see this. That is why we play the ball backwards when there's nothing happening. It's recycling possession. It's tempting Leeds to come out of their low block and solid defensive setup. It opens up more space and gives us more ability to play the ball through the lines. But for some reason, people say, oh, it's boring football. It's anti-football. It's the only way to break down a low fucking block. So what the fuck do you want?
No, Steve, you don't understand. My memories of Klopp were just the 2017-18 season for like those 4 months where we played free-flowing transitional football when Phil Coutinho was kind of there, but kind of not. That's what we did for 5-6 years, Steve. Don't you know? Don't you know?
Yeah,
Don't you know about this, Steve? Is your brain filled with worms?
5 years. It's just I have like the biggest problem that Jurgen Klopp faced for
we never lost at home under Klopp. We never lost at home.
Not like he
went
Klopp. 6 games.
We never had. The team didn't look like it gave up on him at all under Klopp. We never said like, oh, it looks like they've given up on the manager here.
Yeah, nobody ever called for Jurgen Klopp's job at all. Not like in 22, 23 or anything like that when people were saying, oh, maybe it's time, the 7-year curse and whatnot. And then everybody absolutely fuming with the fact that he was leaving and that he was running out of energy and whatnot. And I'm kind of like,
it's all FSG's fault. They're not backing him. God. It's Michael Edwards' fault. Edwards.
Edwards.
Klopp made Edwards. Klopp made Edwards. Edwards would have never been, great if it wasn't for Klopp ignoring the fact that Michael Edwards was the guy who brought Gareth Bale and Luka Modric to Tottenham in 2009.
Yeah,
was the reason Tottenham had that great team in the early 2000s. As one of their chief scouts. No, Steve, don't listen. Like everyone forgets when, they were dicks, they were cunts, they were asses, and they were wrong. Everyone only remembers when they were right and things were great. No one remembers like when it sucked and, they were like, maybe I was wrong. Like, why would you, Steve? Why would you hang on to that negativity when you could just be negative in the moment? Why would you be negative about yourself in the past when you could just be negative in the moment?
Let's move off round football and on to the egg ball because you have a team playing tonight with the Carolina Panthers.
We're talking about rugby now.
Yeah, we're talking about rugby now. You got Carolina Panthers playing the Buccaneers for the division win, the NFC South, actually. How do you think that's going to go in tank division?
I have no idea. The NFC South is so weird this year. I've actually been surprised about the Panthers are just a weird, like every team out of the NFL of the AFC South, NFC South is just weird. They're just so weird this year. Everyone's talking about Baker Mayfield having an MVP like year,
and then he fell off the cliff.
Yeah, because that's Baker Mayfield. But media attention driven, narrative driven. Everything has to have a narrative. Everything has to fit some sort of story. Because capitalism, and you have to sell it. I have no idea how it's going to go. We should beat Tampa Bay. We have enough people. We have enough players to beat Tampa Bay. I think at times we've been not poorly coached, but I think there's been bad game management by Dave Canales and Bryce Young and everything else.
Yeah,
I think Bryce Young's improved every season, especially when he finally got an offensive line. I'm still iffy on his 5th-year option going out from the Buccaneers, but we should beat Tampa Bay if you commit to the run. We use Chuba and Dowdy and we're smart in the passing game. We don't make any big turnovers. We should win the game because then we got some big wins in our belt. Beating the LA Rams was not a fluke. Losing to the Saints was a disaster and a fluke. Beating the Bucs, we were better. The Seattle is probably the best team.
Your defense though is a bit of an issue. Like you've given up.
It's inconsistent. Because it's inconsistent. It's
34. There's what is it? How many touchdowns have you given up on the defensive side of the ball? Rushing, you've given up 20. 39, nearly 40 touchdowns given up so far this season. Now, in fairness, we can't talk because we got 41 given up.
It's an inconsistent defense. It's been inconsistent. So we've got up a lot of points, but it's also been it's been good at times, like producing turnovers or sacks. It's been a very mid-average to below average defense most of the year. But it's gotten better.
This is what it is here on FBRF. Because just looking at the numbers of it itself, obviously it's Carolina and
that mid-tier. Yeah,
it's
mid-tier. That's why I said it's average to below average. There are 32 teams. It's slightly below average.
Yeah, it's one of them that's just a bit weird. Now, the only thing that I am very hopeful for you guys is the sack percentage and the pressure percentage and how often they allow pressure. Tampa Bay allows a very, very high rate of pressure. Ironically, over the 4 San Francisco allows some of the least amount of pressure all season, and we have a shit offensive line, so I'm not sure how that works. Might be just down to the fact that we release the ball quickly and we run the ball quite a lot, and we keep teams guessing with a lot of motion that they don't really pressure us all that much.
And your head coach is very, very good at like designing
scheming
plays.
things up.
Yeah, it's scheming things up, quick releases, quick screens, stuff like that. Very traditional West Coast offense stuff. Not like the Chargers where it's like Herbert take a 5-step drop back with a 5-second play development, even though you only have 2 seconds in the pocket. Just survive.
Like, do the Chargers have Joe Alt still?
No, he's injured. He's injured for the year because he had ankle surgery.
Okay,
him and Slater are both out for the year.
I was say about Slater too. Like you're basically missing your 2 biggest protectors there,
and also all the second linemen. Like they're down to practice squad and like.
But that's what we're down to on our defense too, like which is mental. And
the offensive line on their offensive line, and it's for all the worst. Oh, you're talking about San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah, our defense is completely decimated. Like we've lost guys left and right. Our DB room is starting to get a little bit better now, and then our defensive line is just shocking. We can't get to a quarterback at all. We have the worst sack percentage in the league, and it's just it's tragic. But if it wasn't for Robert Saleh, we would probably be way worse off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he back?
He is, yeah, which is my point of how he's able to scheme up defenses that keep us in games that allow the offense to just go and drop a 40 burger on a team, which is brilliant. Like, and people are saying to me like, oh, he's going to be gone in the summer, and I'm kind of like, nah, he's not. He's staying. I think the stint with the Jets really fucked him over. He's not going to go anywhere unless it's a perfectly solid place to go that's probably in a good position with good draft picks and maybe a young quarterback that's in like a developmental stage at the minute where, like, to be honest, I don't see the only place that I would see Robert Saleh going is the Ravens if they get rid of Harbaugh.
I don't think they get rid of John Harbaugh. I don't get.
That's my point.
But I don't think the Ravens would ever get rid of John Harbaugh. I think John Harbaugh may leave, but like, I don't. I feel like this is just a lot of Lamar Jackson stands and not a lot of Raven fans.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Liverpool. There's a lot of Mohamed Salah fans, but not a lot of Liverpool fans. And it's like, there's a big difference. Like, I love Mohamed Salah as a player. He's a legend. He's always going to be a legend. We're better without him at this moment in time. And that's just, that's the pragmatism of footy. And people are saying like, oh, who's going to last? Is it Salah or Salah? I'm like, we're cheering for the same team here, guys. Yeah, and like, but also like, we're cheering for the same side here, guys. Like, what the fuck are you on? Like Mohamed Salah is like a multimillionaire. Like, he's fine. Like this is not David versus Goliath. Like,
the take that
they're adults.
The take that I think Josh Williams had is probably the best one. Of this is a superstar that's been benched for 3 games in a row and played 45 minutes in one of them. When he came out and said this. I can't remember when he said it. Was it after the Leeds game? He was out of the starting lineup for a week. I think it was after the Leeds game where he came out and he had words at Ellen Road in the mixed media area. And like Josh Williams, the distance covered guy on Twitter, his take was perfect for it. He said, I don't subscribe to this at all. This is a guy that's been out of the lineup a week and hasn't actually been out of the team a week because he played 45 minutes. And you're now going to start throwing your toys out the pram where he dropped the forward that defends the least in order to make us more pragmatic and less leaky from the back when teams were actively targeting us down the right-hand side for multiple games. And because you were given the luxury job of putting the ball in the back of the net and we'll do your running for you, you are not holding up your end of the bargain. So we have to make a change, and we're putting other people in there that will do the running and the pressing, meaning the other players can start to thrive. And we become more pragmatic, more defensively sound, and then we started winning games. And now all of a sudden, Salah's due back in what? I think at max 2 weeks. I think he'll be back.
I think so. I'm looking at AFCON right now. Yeah. Because they're at what was that?
I think the 18th is the final.
Yes. I don't. Yeah. So Egypt's playing Benin. And I think that's like, the final is, let me pull it up for you real quick.
It's either the 15th or the 18th.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. I got it right here. It's the knockout stage. Oh, I don't know why it doesn't show ahead, but yeah, I think it's the 18th. You're right.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think
he's coming back by like the time the transfer window closes. But sell him to Saudi while you can. I'm just kidding.
I think he goes personally. I think he goes. I don't
think so
think
too.
this is out of contract.
What was that?
I don't think they see out his contract. I think they didn't want to sign him to a new deal, but his ridiculous numbers kind of forced their hand to do so. And now his severe lack of numbers is having the opposite effect where they're like, okay, we're fine to let you go now because we've kind of been proven right that maybe we were a bit reluctant to pay you this money. And now that we've paid you the money, you've fallen off the face of the earth. And now you're kind of, not backing up the luxury role that you've been provided, which in my opinion, I think is the right move to do. It takes $500,000 a week off the books on a salary wise. It also gets you probably about £50 million from Saudi if he is to go there. And I'm kind of like, that's a win-win for Liverpool, in my opinion. It gets an awful lot of money off the books straight away nearly. And you get to move on and move past Mohamed Salah. As you said, two things can be true at once. He is a legend. He deserves a statue outside the club. He'll probably get one at one point for all the records that he's broken. There'll be something done up around the stadium for him. There's going to be murals all around the stadium of him. He deserves all of his flowers, all of his plaudits. He has given us more memories than any other player has in our history of our lives anyway. And he's one of the best players to have ever kicked a ball, and we are lucky to have ever been able to witness it. But Father Time is undefeated, and it looks like he's fucking got Mohamed Salah by the balls, unfortunately.
I even think with Virgil, we've seen like Virgil be as not as an Imperial's best this year, and I think that's I hate to say a worrying sign because it's the wrong idea, but I also think that one of the reasons we've also haven't been that good this year is that I think Virgil van Dijk has not always been there both as a leader and as the best center back in the world, and that I think that's partly because the year older. I think that's probably because of Konate. I think that's because he has a new left back. I think it's Jods. I think it's a lot of things as well. I'm not saying we sell Van Dijk. I'm just saying that,
No, but if you think about it, like he's 50% of his back line has changed. Like he doesn't really have Robbo there anymore. Robbo, he can't rely on Robbo like he did for the last 6 or 7 years. He has to sort of build this relationship with Kirkes, and then to his right, Konate has just decided to absolutely fall off a cliff himself. So now Verge is trying to do the defending for two people, which means he's maybe being a bit more rash, which maybe means he's stepping into positions that he shouldn't have to, and now he's out of position and he's overextending and overreaching. Then also we have a new right back, and we've changed our right back so often that the back line is just in complete turmoil, and he doesn't have. And Alisson has been out, and he didn't have the safety net of Kelleher, which a lot of people were like, "Oh, Alisson saves that." No, the fuck he doesn't. Every time somebody said that when a goal went past Kelleher, and they're like, "Alisson saves that," I'm like, "No, the fuck he doesn't." But each to their own. And this is why I'm kind of like, and the problem is when you're talking about goalkeepers, unless you've played in goal yourself, it's very hard to talk to somebody about goalkeepers and their mannerisms and the habits and what they do and their reflexes to somebody that has never played in goal in their life. It's so hard talking double Dutch.
It is, but I do think that Mamardashvili has done well at times, but also
he's been brilliant.
But I also feel like he's also sold himself short a bit, because I feel like he maybe should have done better in one or two instances, but it's also being a goalkeeper with a new back line is also a whole thing as well. Because Kelleher, when he stepped in, he had been there for like years training with the first team.
Yeah.
So they were used to him for a while. And he even had that.
But to show your point of how unused to them, Mamardashvili is left-footed. They kept passing the ball to his right foot.
Yeah, no.
so there you go. Like that just shows.
Even I didn't know he was left-footed. I didn't even know he was left-footed too.
But then you've seen after I think after the first or second game, they all then started passing to his left foot, and he unbelievably became way more comfortable in possession. And you're kind of like, oh well, there you go. But see, the thing about it is Kelleher was so two-footed they could have passed it to either side and he would have been comfortable. This is the point as well. So they were so used to having a safety net of Kelleher and Alisson, who are good with both feet. Now they have to deal with a guy that's good with his left, not so good with his right, but he will gain more comfortability with his right foot as time goes on. So, make his life easier and put it onto his strong foot for the minute, because he's stepping in behind a back line that has been chopped and changed so much since last season. It's there, like you could write a list as long as me, and I'm nearly 6'4", of all of the things that have gone into how we
Calm
have
down,
performed this
Hosier.
season.
Calm down, Hosier.
No, he's 6'6". He's a different beast. All the things that have not so much gone wrong, but that you could attribute to poor form, individual errors, and every single one of the things on that list is not down to the manager, or at least 90% of them. Like it's so much out of the manager's control. Like I'm sorry, but like when people were giving out about, oh, well, we weren't moving quick enough, I'm like, yes, because Slot 100% sat in a team meeting before the game and told them, make sure you hold the ball for 5 seconds before you pass it. No, the fuck you didn't.
I don't know a coach in history that's ever said, like pass slow. Like we always say, pass quickly, like keep the ball moving. It's just that players when they're in the game, it's like move the ball quickly as an instruction doesn't work if it's like, well, there's no one I can pass to. So you're like, say
if nobody's making the move into the space to receive the pass can't happen, which then slows down the play and makes us look like we're building up too slowly. Again, this comes back to 7 new first-team lads coming into the team and now have to learn the tendencies and where guys like the ball.
No, Steve, we need a metronome 6. We need Martin, Mountain, Shagan, Zubamindy, Adam, General Warts, and get him in. Enzo Fernandez. Get Enzo Maresca in. He's the GOAT. He's generational. He's a generational manager. Swap the Dutch fraud for the Italian Rodgers. Get him in. Get Maresca in.
Let's go get the guy that had a less than 30% win percentage in Serie C, along with nearly bottling a fucking championship win with Leicester.
$3 billion spent, and he won a Club World Cup. I haven't seen Slot do that yet.
Oh no, he just pissed the Premier League with a tenner spent on Chiesa and didn't even use them. Right. What do you think the 49ers are going to do with Seahawks? That's at home. Seahawks are favored minus 1.5.
Oh, I don't know. It's it's Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold like doesn't do anything stupid, they'll win.
That's what I said as well. I made a TikTok of it. I'm going to post it after this. Of it's going to come down. It's going to come down to quarterback play of who doesn't make the least. Yeah, who fucks up the least, basically.
I don't think Brock Purdy was going to make a lot of mistakes because he doesn't usually make a lot of mistakes. Like the one thing you say about Brock Purdy is he's very
safe.
What was it? Derek Carr. David was his brother. That was the bad one. Derek. He's very Derek Carr in the sense of he's usually pretty reliable. Like you know what you're going to get. Like you might get a sack or a fumble or something. I hate predicting this game because it's a divisional game as well. I would say Seahawks should win it by all intents and purposes, all incandescent purposes, for all intensive prostitutes. I don't know any versions of intensive purposes. I have no puns for it. I ran out there, but make sure to always tip your local prostitutes, guys. You know, like they make the world go round. As long as they're not,
is just
no. As long as they're not on Jeffrey Island. As long as they're not on Jeffrey's Island, we're good. They were definitely not. They were not adults.
They were not there of a willing capacity. So,
but I think the 49ers. I think the 49ers obviously are very capable of winning this game because Kyle Shanahan's been in this position. He knows what it's like to pull a win. Like they've been here, so they have the muscle memory. So
yeah.
You know, I hate saying this. I'm going to say Seahawks because they should win. But I wouldn't be surprised the 49ers like won by 5 or something. You know, like
I think it'll be a close game, similar to the game week 1, but we were in Seattle for that, and they couldn't put up 13. They put up 13 points on our full first team defense. Might be a little bit different now, but our offense wasn't clicking then either. And now Brock Purdy has put up 10 touchdowns in 2 weeks going into this week. And you're kind of like, okay, well, the defense isn't firing, but the offense is willing and capable of putting up 40. We could score 40, and the idea of it is do you think the Seahawks score 40 against us in Santa Clara? I don't think they do.
Yeah, I think the first team to 20 wins this game would be kind of my prediction. Whoever scores 20 is probably first. like
Yeah.
gets to 20 points, is probably going to win the game. If you want to think
Yeah.
about it like a race chart. Cool. All right, Steve, we'll do Fulham real quick. We'll do like a Fulham preview, and then I'll let you go enjoy your evening and watch the American footy, and I'll probably do some streaming about U.S. imperialism, because it seems to be we're back, baby. We're back to the banana wars. The U.S. is back, baby, to doing genocides.
What's the meme that's out of Megamind? It's all the Venezuelans saying, "Oh my God, we're free, we're free, we're free," and then it's
more like
Donald
under new
Trump. I wouldn't
management.
say free, under new management.
Yes, yeah. This is the American way.
It's the American dream.
My Caracas, my Dune.
Oh.
Dune was about Donald Trump. Let's be honest. Frank Herbert took some acid, did some spice, and he saw the future of Trump as Baron Harkonnen, Vladimir Harkonnen. He was just like, my Caracas, my Dune. Junior.
I love Fremen are great people. I know many Fremen.
I want you to squeeze, Eric. I want you to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze the Fremen. And if they just all die, it is what it is. We can't.
They say I've got the best spice. The best spice around.
Trump spice. It's our Trump spice.
It's better than any spice. Oh, fucking Christ.
Jesus Christ, though. All right, Fulham first. Fulham are weird. I've said this for the past years. I know I said this when we were doing LFC transfer room streams and anything Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know the chat's not pulling up in Restream, but people have been chatting on TikTok. Yeah, I think you can look at the studio to see the chat that some people were commenting on this. I don't know why Restream doesn't integrate TikTok's chat, but I know the live studio app, when you go live, it should show it at the same time. Again, it's all finicky and stuff like that. But Fulham are a weird side. I've said that for years, because they're full of players that were has-beens at other clubs. So like at time, like Harry Wilson, like has shown quality at times, and he's been very decent for Fulham this year. Raul Jimenez, obviously before his hand injury at Wolves, was one of the reasons Wolves was in Europe. Emil Smith-Rowe, people are saying we should buy Emil Smith-Rowe as a 10, which I think is hilarious, because I think he's just like fat and useless. But that's just my opinion. That's my professional opinion. Lukic, Saskia Lukic, again, older guy who is obviously older midfielder, would be like a bench player at most top teams. Chukwueze, 26. Brian Sessegnon, Tottenham bought him. He hasn't really flourished, but he was like a left back when people think we should buy him for Robertson. Yeah. Iwobi's a big one. Senda Berge, someone that we were looking at for a 6 a couple of years ago. They're just Kenny Tete, Anthony Robertson, Adamo Traore, like just a weird collection of these are all like guys almost in their 30s now, which makes me feel old. Which reminds me that I'm in my 30s now and I feel old.
Same.
They are a collection of very professional, very, I don't want to say gifted, it's the wrong word, very professional, very inconsistent footballers, and I think that their careers have kind of showed that. So they could say smash Arsenal 3-0 and then get bent over by Forest like 4-0, because they're just that echelon of player, like Iwobi is, Sessegnon is as well. Again, dangerous, can offer a lot. Again, Timothy Castagne was bought by Rodgers as Leicester, where they were like 5th. They were actually 2nd, I think, at one point, with Timothy Castagnon at like their like right wing back or right back or something as well. They're weird. They have Harrison Reed, who they thought was the backup to Victor Wembanyama at Southampton back in the day. Very, very weird team. They don't generate a lot. They don't really concede that much. Like their XG conceded is 25. It's about it's more than ours. Their XG4 is 22. They've scored 26 and conceded 27. So they're overperforming their XG scoring, and they're about performing their XG conceded. We should go and win. If we play like we can play, which we haven't seen a lot this year, but if we can have a good solid 15 to 20 when we actually score the chances we create, if Verts, like the Wolves, the Leeds game, if Verts scores that chance that Ekitike gives to him when Ekitike should get a penalty, that game's 3-0. Like if Verts scores because he does the right thing, he just makes a bad shot. If we do
I
what
think
we're
a more
supposed to do,
confident
we
person
should
takes that
win
onto
2-0,
his left
3-0.
foot.
Yeah, but he's not. Like, so he takes it on his right foot. Yeah, first time against James Justin, or he takes a touch. Like, he seems like that's Firmino would have taken a touch, finished on his left foot. And that's because Bobby was always Bobby. Bobby would always just do stuff like that because he could just read
He
a
was just
situation
calling all the time.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
So that's my kind of scouting critique of Fulham. Like, Jimenez is obviously like their more dangerous player. Wilson's been on a tear. So, he's not pacey, but he's good at set pieces and free kicks. So, as long as we're not giving silly fouls away, we keep the ball and we work them, we should beat them 2-0, 3-0, in my opinion. It's pretty much what Fulham are. We could do an Arsenal preview, Steve, if you want to save Arsenal for a bit. I know they just won 3-2 against Bournemouth, somewhat convincingly, somewhat unconvincingly.
I'd say we'll save the Arsenal one. I think we'll save that for another stream in a couple of minutes' time.
What are your thoughts on Fulham, real quick?
I think it's going to be a very different game to Leeds. I think they'll try and come out and attack us because they're obviously playing at home at Craven Cottage. I think that will feed into us a little bit more in that the game will be a bit more open, which will allow us to play, I suppose, our game, if you want to call it that, a little bit more. Then, I don't know, it's kind of one of them, like in their just looking at their last 5, just purely on the results, the last 5 team form, they've won 3, lost 1, drawn 1. They've scored in every single one of them, and the only time they've scored more than 1 goal was against Burnley. They scored 1 against Newcastle, 1 against Forest, 1 against West Ham, and 1 against Crystal Palace, but also conceded 1 there, and they conceded 2 against Newcastle. They kept a clean sheet against Forest at home, and they kept a clean sheet away to West Ham. Now, importantly as well, of the last 5, the only one of them that they've played at home is the game where they beat Forest. Them at home in Craven Cottage is a bit of a weird one. And it's a strange one. Like the head-to-heads over the last, 20 games, we've won 12, drawn 4, lost 4. That's the way that it is. And then, if, as you said, looking at the table itself as well, it's just a bit of a weird because, like, as he said, on the XG side of it, they've scored 22, or sorry, they have 24 points. They're 3 points higher than what they would have been normally. We're 1 point higher than what we would have been. And then you have the likes of obviously fucking Aston Villa that are just pissing on the face of absolutely every prediction model in the world. But yeah, they've conceded 27, they've scored 26, they have a goal difference of -1. I'm torn because they're such a funny team to predict. I don't want to predict them, but as you said, if we get a 20-minute spell, a 30-minute spell where everything is clicking and they're wide open because they're trying to come out and attack us, it's probably going to end up if we bag 2 or 3 goals, and then they might get 1 because they're at home and we might not keep a clean sheet. I think it could end up being 2-1 or 3-1 to Liverpool, honestly.
Yeah, their best player I think so far this year, or their most exciting player, has been Josh King, who I think is someone to watch. Mane at Wolves. He got a goal today, but Mane has looked really good at Wolves.
Well,
Mane's
Josh King is out.
He is. He's out.
He's out. He has so the not for the season, but I think he's out for this. Missing Rodrigo Muniz, Joshua King, Ryan Song. Now, this is what FootMob has. Calvin Bassey, Alex Iwobi, and Chukwueze are all away on national duty.
Yeah.
Tete has a
I forgot that because of AFCON. Yeah, we should beat them. There's no excuse why we shouldn't beat them because their best players are all out at the AFCON. I think that's why also the results have been that way, is that they've been very rigid, very structured, very we're going to not concede a lot, but we're going to choose our moments. Very, again, Pomo. I should pull up their 11s recently. What was their 11 against? I actually pulled the match report against. Let me just do Palace real quick. Because they had 11s. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
God,
sorry.
Kevin.
No, you go ahead. You were saying.
No, I was gonna say I was pulling. Yeah. So they have Anderson. They're gonna play George Koneka, Anthony Robertson, Kenny Tete, Sashko Lukic, Senda Burge, Emil Smith Rowe, Kevin, Harry Wilson, and Raul Jimenez. But they don't really have a lot to bring on the bench. They have Tom Carney, Adama Traore,
Well,
Timothy Castagne. What?
I said neither do we.
Well, yeah, okay. But like, it depends on how you want to look at it. So this is the thing about like our bench is like, yeah, we also didn't have a bench last year. Like, the idea of having like 22 players of, this like, what Manchester City have like 18, 17 good players and that's it. Like you don't really like Arteta and Arsenal are in a weird situation where they have a much bigger squad and they're probably going to carry beyond this season because they have like Ben White and like all these others are like fifth, sixth, seventh choice center backs that are probably gonna fuck off because Arteta bought them and they suck. But like they've just kind of wound up in this position. Like Trossard is coming into the end. They brought Madueke. Gabriel Jesus has been injured for most of the time. Like this idea of like having like a really deep team is just it very rarely happens. It's more theoretical, again, FIFA mindset than it is like reality. But we should beat them with whatever players we have. I mean, listen, they're going to play the same team they played against Palace, I imagine, with Kevin and all of them as well. They're not going to be a very fast team, but they're going to be a team that are going to be very dangerous in moments, and they're going to try and pick us off in a mid block press, I imagine, which is what Marco Silva always does. He plays a mid block press and tries to hit you in the channels. That's pure Marco Silva. That's what they're going to do. It's going to be 4-2-3-1. It's probably the most 4-2-3-1 you've seen in your life. Sasko Lukic and if they play Tom Kearney or whoever they play with them, Sander Berge, they're gonna clog the middle as best they can. Again, they're not very like they're good blockers. They can play the ball forward, but they're not gonna out football you for the most part.
Yeah.
What would be your starting lineup? I would play the same team we played against Wolves, and I think you put Chiesa back in as a starter for this game. In my opinion,
the team that I picked earlier for when I done it on TikTok, I had Alisson, Frimpong, Konate, Verge, Kirkes, and then I had a midfield diamond, Grav in the 6, the 2 8s for Jones and Szoboszlai, Wirtz in a 10, and then I had a front two of Gakpo and Ekitike. But I could also see it being us in a 4-2-3-1 where Dom is the right wing and you have Frimpong as the right back. And similar to how we attacked Leeds, you would have Frimpong overlapping and Dom coming back and sort of sitting on that right mid position, so to speak, and us pushing up in that sense. I think the game is going to be a little bit more open than it was against the likes of Leeds and Wolves. But I wouldn't put Florian Wirtz on the left wing. I would put him central and let him be the creative conduit from the center and give him that free role, because him on the left-hand side against Leeds was just completely nullifying him. He was being used way too wide. If he came in and sort of even sat in the left half space, he would have been much more effective. But we didn't do that because they were obviously clogging those lanes. So we were trying to get creativity from anywhere, really. I think Wirtz in the 10. And now, I wouldn't also be against just fucking on that left wing. But the problem is that you're going to be asking an awful lot of Kirkes on that left-hand side to cover the lack of pressing that Rio Ngamoa has, because everybody was looking at, Rio Ngamoa created 3 chances in 6 minutes. Yes, because Leeds were hanging on for dear fucking life and we were just fucking the ball into the box constantly. Context does not seem to matter to people about fucking statistics. The biggest problem with statistics is fucking idiots have access to them as well. And it's just, it's one of them that I could see a lineup of it being a 4-2-2-2. I could see it being a 4-2-3-1. I could see it being, it will be, I'm interested. I think the nailed on people that are in the squad is going to be Alisson, Konate, Van Dijk, Ekitike, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Jones, and Gravenberch. You can then pick your poison from the other ones. Then there's like 2 or 3 others that could go into it.
Okay, so my thing is like I don't want to see Bradley and Frimpong starting on the same team ever again. I don't mind it like 60 minutes onwards, but starting a game that is not like a Champions League semifinal away to like Madrid or PSG,
where you need that.
I don't want to see that in a game that you have to win in the league. And I get why Slot did it against Leeds. I think he expected Leeds to play more football than what they did, because they did try to play football when they were at home at Ellen Road. And I think what Slot was expecting was for them to target our wings a bit more, and they didn't. Luke and Mecca didn't. I think he may have also expected them to play both Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Nemeka during that game. Daniel Falker doesn't do that. To his credit, he does try to like break the game up, play a specific way, and get a result. And good for Daniel Falker. Like I think he's a very overhated coach at times. He's obviously very intelligent. He was part of the Borussia Dortmund setup. He was one of the coaches under Klopp. Yada 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 yada. Another point. I think for this game, if you want to win, you have to start either Chiesa or Cody or Rio on a wing. You just have to. If you want to be bold, like you mentioned before, if you want to be bold, you can go Chiesa, Hugo, Gakpo, Frimpong, Kirkes, Dom, Verts, Graf. He won't do that because it would be a ping pong match. Most likely, it's going to be one of either Cody or Chiesa on the wing, with Verts occupying the other wing. I think that's what it's going to do because like Verts on the left wing. I get what you mean by like eventually we want to see him more central, either central literally in the middle of the field or central left inside channel created. But he's also floated to the right side a lot. So even though he's starting left wing, we figured out a way to cover that left side with Jones, with Kirkes. I think you keep that. I think you keep that. You have to keep that combo.
With Leeds, he was just like his heat map shows him being a winger, which I think was the problem, especially against a low block. He should have moved more central and been that creative conduit rather than being limited at being on the left hand side against a more open team like Fulham are going to be tomorrow. I don't mind him being on the left wing because Fulham are going to be going up and down as much. Whereas if this was at home, I'd rather vert central. Whereas because it's away at Craven Cottage, Fulham are going to come at us a little bit more, meaning there's going to be more space for him to operate in on that left-hand side, and he's not going to be constricted to it. He's going to be able to get inside an awful lot easier, if that makes sense.
But no, I totally get what you mean. I think what I mean with the Leeds game is more that I think what happened was because of Robertson. So that upset that triangle where Verts, Robertson, and Jonas didn't quite work. But if Kirkes was there, I think Verts would have found himself in the inside channel more. I also think Verts was a little bit goosed. I think that's why he takes him off too, like to preserve his legs a bit. Because you can see we just fall off a cliff without Verts on the field. Which makes sense because we let Trent go, but we bought Florian Wirtz to build around Florian Wirtz. Like the Wirtz is the future, and I think he's shown better and better why you buy into that because he can just do so much. Like he can outplay Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi in a midfielder by himself. Like, he's obviously showed his quality. He just hasn't gotten the numbers yet. The goals and assists will come. A lot of the stuff there is there. And like, again, he's gotten better at his execution. I think once he gets more confidence, he'll be fine. But I think you have to choose either Cody or Wirtz on the wing. Sorry, Cody or Chiesa on the wing is going to be the call. I just don't want to see two fullbacks like that. That's Claude Puel's Leicester. I don't want to see two right backs on the field, and it's not because we looked bad with it happening with Frimpong. It's just that it's two right backs. You're limiting what you're actually doing because they both want to do the same thing. Like Bradley was trying to do the same thing that Frimpong was doing. You don't want two players on the same side of the field doing the same thing. That's why Kirkes and Jones and Wirtz work so well, is that they're all trying to do different things. Like if Wirtz goes inside, Kirkes goes outside, Jones holds the shape. If Wirtz stays high, Jones goes through, Kirkes holds the shape, or Kirkes and Wirtz, Jones goes out, Jones overlaps, and like they figured out that wing. And actually, I think that's one reason McAllister was moved to that 10 as like the Dom position when Dom was out, was because I think McAllister was just getting exposed, having to cover so much space. I was in a fucking argument with Tom and all these fucking dumbasses because I kept saying, like, why are we acting like McAllister's a fucking bad player? They're like, well, I'm not saying he's slow. We just didn't buy him for his pace. I'm like, I know he's not the fastest in the team, but he's never been slow. There's a difference between not being the fastest in the team and being slow. He's not slower than Martin Zubimendi. The problem with McAllister has been he just hasn't been fit. Like you could tell he just hasn't been mentally and physically fit the whole season. It's not because he's a shit player and like McAllister's the most overrated player. I'm like, what the fuck are we on about? Like I don't get bashing Alex McAllister. Like I don't.
Man was top
like,
25.
Curtis Jones. I know, but like I understand people not liking Curtis Jones because he's scouse and like he thinks he's all that and like prim and proper, you smash someone. Like I get people not liking Jones. Like I get people not liking Dominic Szoboszlai. Like I understand that. I think it's dumb. I think you have the IQ of a fucking rock, but I understand why. Like I can understand that because I'm also a rock. We're also rock. We're always rocks in the NSD. Like I can understand those points of view. I don't understand the Anti McAllister point of view, except for the fact he's just been bad this year, which I agree with. I don't think that's shocking. I don't think it's because he's blown up. He's 20. He just
But it's, as you said, it's down to a multitude of reasons. He just hasn't been fit. He hasn't been able to get a proper preseason into himself. He basically missed the last month of the season because he clearly was carrying something, and Slot was like, "Look, his body's we got to like rest him up." And like,
and we ran him into the ground. We ran everyone into the ground. Yeah. Like again, this is the thing. We've been shit since February. I'm like, we ran into everyone into the ground to win the league. Of course, we were shot. Like we played 13 players.
We were 10 points clear by January. We basically won the league by January, and then basically coasted on 75% at the end of the season. We just built enough of a lead that we were fine.
I think 15 players, it was like Villa levels of like 13 to 15 players played like 90% of the points and everyone else did like fuck all. So like, yes, of course we looked bad at the end of the year because everyone was breaking down. Like everyone that was playing and everyone got pissed and then like, Slot going out into a Bethel, like how disrespectful. I'm like, we were all having a laugh. It's like I wasn't having a laugh. I'm like, the fuck you weren't. The fuck you weren't.
Everybody was like the fact that like I get like Maddie Orm, who's obviously in that and the groups that were there. He was going to every game and he was like, "This is a fucking party. We couldn't care if we win or we lose." All of the supporters were there.
I love
absolutely loving life. And then now 9 months later, you're like, "Oh no, it wasn't right. It wasn't. We shouldn't have done that." And I'm like, "What are you on about? You were absolutely loving life. You were topless in Sellers fucking Park, loving life. What are you on about?"
It's the most English thing ever to downplay the fun you were having 6 months ago as like a way of like playing like paying like destitution to the universe for having enjoyment. Like get fucking Maddie on these lives. Like get Maddie out of that out of that group. We'll make our own group of like toxic positivity. But like we all have to like we all have to swear fealty to Lord Garrett. Lord like Steve Garrett. Actually, no, what is it? Thane? What is it? Thane in Gaelic? Like Lord. What is because Lord comes from Dominos, Dominos in Latin. What is Lord in Gaelic, Steve?
It's so the thing in Ireland would have been Earl. That would have been it before like the British Lord came in. It would have been the Earl, or like there was loads of different kings, or there would have been Earls, and like Lord is kind of a similar thing, but there was a different word for it. I can't think of it. Right, I am going to end it there. Dan, it has been a pleasure as always. Love chatting to you. Love shooting the shit. Great times. But yeah, I will give you a shout when we do one again before Arsenal. What we'll do is we'll do a Fulham review and an Arsenal preview similar to this one.
Yeah, we can do it on like Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, and if you want to, like I said, there was actually a lot of comments. You actually got a lot more, got a lot more traction this time. You're getting traction. See, it takes.
Where do I look at it? Like, do I have to have the TikTok Live Studio open as well at the same time?
I think like do the comments. I think so because WeStream's weird like that when it comes to like different like comments. You remember this for like anything like that.
Live, I'm going to open up the TikTok Live and see if I can see them. Because if there was a guy, like, are you looking at it on your phone? Because I don't know. Can you get the TikTok Live app on your phone?
Yeah, I got it on my phone, or I had it on my phone.
Give me 1 second. I'll see. Because then I can just go and I can understand the loop. Not now.
It's all good now. I think it's just me watching it because it does that thing where like they also like it when you go over. Like I've also realized that they love portrait mode. They love when you stream more than like an hour. So like my watch time goes up like by my hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4. So if you ever want to do like a 5 hour, 6 hour stream of just nonsense, we can do that. It's the whole transfer deadline day, just 7 hours.
Yeah,
of chatting in the chair.
Yeah, we do that. I'm just looking at it here. Like, where do you get the app on your phone? Or is it like a website in the phone, or what is it? Because I'm looking in the App Store.
No, it should be like you go to
TikTok
activity.
Live, like the live studio.
Oh no, it's not. It's not one for the phone. But if you click on the TikTok app and go to your portrait. Yeah. If you go to the TikTok app, it should pull up. But like for the desktop, it should be TikTok Studio.
Activity. What is it?
If you're on your desktop, but it should be at the top, like your portrait or whatever. Yeah.
It's not showing up as that I'm live,
because
though.
they're
Hilarious.
yeah, sometimes it does that as like a glitch too. Like it's all finicky. TikTok is a finicky app when it comes to streaming. They haven't quite figured out a way of like multiple integrations.
I'm trying to figure out where I can pull it up and see it the same way that you're seeing it. Because there's nothing showing up. It doesn't say that I'm live. It doesn't say anything, but obviously I am live.
Yeah,
Like,
it's showing up on my side, which is
itself,
good.
like on the desktop itself, do I need to open up the TikTok live studio and see
I
it
think
that
so.
way?
If you want to see comments, yeah, if you want to see the comments.
Okay, but right, well, I'll do that now, just while we're still live, just for shits and giggles, and we'll see. Because I would wonder how it sort of
with restream and everything.
Yeah. Right, is TikTok Studio is loading up at the moment. Right.
Yeah, it's all a bit finicky. It's all a bit weird.
Okay, she's loading up. I'm going to move you over to the other screen. Yeah. The only thing about how much of the CPU it takes up, and if it then fucks the stream.
It usually isn't that bad. Well, with Restream, because it's all browser, it depends on how you code it. So, like, different coding like requires different things. But for TikTok Studio, as long as you're live, you should be able to see the comments. Like, again, I haven't figured out all the finicky stuff on my side on it too. But like TikTok Studio live studio is always a bit weird. But the live studio doesn't take up that much CPU or RAM. It's the coding that usually takes the time. So that's like your graphics card or whatever.
Well, it's loading up here now, so we'll see if there's something came through.
Yeah, we're 3 streams in, Steve. It's the experimental phase.
Yeah. So if I hit go live here, will it show me as live?
It might. It should.
Show the comments.
If it doesn't, that's good to know. Wow, I'm surprised. Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, but you were getting them too, so it's just one of those things where the integration just isn't perfect of like the comments. But I think other people use stuff like StreamYard. Yeah.
Looking at all, I'm not sure. See us live on this now, which is
Do you see the comments now?
Hilarious. It's showing it up on Restream. No. It's just showing what I'm seeing on my screen for Restream. It's not, but it's showing live performance. Gotcha. Annoying. 1.9k likes and a gift and all that.
Okay, so it is showing that. So you are getting the performance. That's actually probably underwhelming because it's more than that.
And all that goodness. Like, that's really fucking annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying.
Yeah, that's really annoying. That's a shame. I'd nearly need a second fucking account to see myself go live and be able to watch it from there, so I can see the comments on it, like, which is again really fucking annoying.
It is, yeah. It is, but like it's just it's just experimenting with Restream and shit. Just trying out different things.
Yeah.
It'd
be nice now if I was able to see the sort of like if TikTok Studio itself had like an ability for me to go back and watch the lives that I've done.
Yes, they do. It should automatically save one for you. This should be. It's
more so like seeing the views and the likes that it got, if that made sense.
They show like a live performance thing. So like there's usually like some live performance thing they show back at the end. But I think
Okay.
there's usually something like that built in. The one thing I don't like about one thing I don't like about it though is that it's very like, again, it's finicky. Like it's not the most like, you've seen it. It's not the most like well
Yeah.
designed futuristic thing as well. Like they're still building a lot of stuff into it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, all right. But anyways, right, I'm going to end it there and see if I can figure a couple of bits out, and I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later on. I might talk to you tomorrow. We'll sort something out for Monday or Tuesday for the Fulham review and Arsenal preview. All right.
Yeah, fine with me, Stacey.